It's been 6 months, guys. 6 months, and so much has happened. I'm literally weeks away from getting married as well. So there's going to be even more changes when I go into the next chapter of that part of my life. But I'll just leave that for like some time, so you don't need to worry about that sort of stuff. But I have to say, the biggest reason for why I moved to Canada in the first place, the biggest reason why I moved to Toronto in particular, was because I've been with my fiance for almost 6 years now, and we're both getting old. So we figured, quick, let's, try and get our lives sorted out. Let's get married, let's settle down, and then see what happens from there, like focus on business building and stuff like that, and just sort of see what happens. It's been quite an experience because unlike most people who have been dating and have had numbers of boyfriends and girlfriends from like their teen years all the way up to adult years, I never had boyfriends when I was younger. I never really dated. I saw guys, because in the UK you do this thing called seeing each other, which is not quite the same as dating, but it kind of is. But when you're seeing someone, 9 times out of 10, the other person doesn't really want to introduce you to like their friends and stuff, because 1, it's too early, and 2, it's just kind of weird. So I was just trying my hardest to be like, I don't know, approachable, to be nice, but guys just didn't like me. So I kind of just got used to the idea that I was just going to be a spinster. And then one night something really bad happened, and I begged the universe to just take away these feelings of love, and I never want to be in love ever again. Or if you feel I should be in love, could you at least show me one side? And then like a few months later, I got my first DM from my fiance, which was really cool. And then almost 6 years later, we finally managed to close the distance, and I'm experiencing a hell of a lot. With that said, living with someone else, it's not the same as having roommates. Like when I was at university, you had roommates. You had your own bathroom and your own like apartment, but you only shared the kitchen. Living with roommates is different. Living with a boyfriend or someone who's going to eventually become your husband is something that's even more different, at least from my understanding. Because not only do you then stop looking after just yourself and everything is about you, and everything's sort of planned and decided on an individual level, you're then having to incorporate this other person. You have to consider their thoughts and feelings on things. And that in and of itself has been quite a nice little exercise. It's been a nice little learning experience, a nice learning curve. So we're learning a lot about each other's diets, what we can have, what we can't have, what we're intolerant to, our fitness regimes, working around each other's like work schedules and things. Like there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into just living with someone, but also having a relationship with that person. So that's been quite an experience. As far as the mental and the emotional aspect of being in a relationship, we've kind of built up most of that during our long distance portion of the relationship, because when you're in a long distance relationship, all you have is emotions, all you have is the mental aspect, all you have is communication. So we're kind of perfected on that to some degree. So when it actually came to actually closing the distance, and flying across the globe to be with him forever, that wasn't much of an issue for us. We were actually kind of okay, just sort of like diving in. I've visited him before, like in 2015, I came out to Toronto for a whole month, and I got to sort of experience Toronto, and that's how I ended up falling in love with the city. And I decided like pretty much on the first day that I arrived, walking out onto College Street, this is where I want to be. This is where I am meant to be. So that was basically what kind of helped usher the reasons why I should move here. There wasn't really a lot of reasons for him to move to the UK. I mean, I love England, I will always love the UK, I love being British, but it is very overpopulated right now, and I kind of want to start my career, and being able to start a career and start a business and things is kind of next to impossible for someone like me in the UK, whereas in Canada there seems to be more of an advantage to be able to do that. So hopefully with my writing, I can get that hopefully traditionally sorted out, and then also have my business on the side with my husband. So I don't know, we'll see how things go. It's been amazing. It's just been a really amazing time, both mentally and emotionally, but it's also been incredible physically as well. Just being able to just hold hands with someone, just being able to sort of hug someone, just to be able to hug that, like to kiss that person. It's been amazing. It's all the things that you kind of miss when you're in a long distance relationship. So it's been nice. It's been nice. I'm not gonna go on. I'm gonna move on to the next point now. I just realized I said the word Toronto. Listen, I still regard myself as a tourist because, like I said, it's only been 6 months. This is what this whole update's about. It's only been 6 months, but I still feel like I'm in the honeymoon phase. So sometimes I will call it Toronto, but I have been told by people here that like you should just call it Toronto if you want to be part of it. Like just call yourself call it Toronto. So it's cool, Toronto. I've learned and picked up other words and phrases for various neighborhoods where I happen to live around. I'm not going to mention the neighborhood that I particularly live in, but I was dubbed a member of the neighborhood this morning by someone who lives here. So I was like, thanks. So that was really fun. My experience so far has been really, really fun. And I thought it would be kind of odd not to meet other British people, but I've met quite a few, which is kind of nice. And when I'm around other Canadians and I'm talking to a British person, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether this is just because it's a me thing or whether it's just a British thing, but suddenly like me and this other British person start going into like our British colloquialisms and start using certain turns of phrases that the Canadian folks that I work with are completely clueless. They're just like, you guys were speaking a completely different language. And I'm like, no, we're just speaking English. So that's been an experience in and of itself. So I've been meeting a lot of British people here. There's a lot more than I thought there would be. I thought it'd be kind of scarce because like whenever I've been visiting family or living in the US or anything like that, it's very rare that you see like a large amount of British people. You just meet Americans all the time. So when you do happen to meet someone who's British, it's like, oh my God, we're friends, we're family. And they get the joke. But here it's not quite the same. Some of my British jokes do fall flat because British folks have been here for quite some time. It's like the alternative Britain to a lot of Brits, I find, when they get tired of living at home or when they just come out to Canada for a holiday, they suddenly realise, oh my God, I need to be here. And then they just sort of disappear. And then they just sort of stay here. And then 35 years later, they're like, I'm so happy. It's been so long. I'm so happy. I just don't bother going back to England. And it's like, okay, cool. So it gives me a little bit of hope. So I don't know, it's been really, really fun. But at the same time, having a British accent has its ups and it has its downs. The main reason or the main issue that I find, sorry, I can't speak English, oh my God, is that sometimes I speak too quickly. And sometimes I say a lot of English words and use a lot of English colloquialisms that are local to North London that Canadians have really no experience with. So they're having to ask me to explain something or just repeat what I've said. And that makes it actually kind of fun because then they're learning something. And then when they give me the Canadian alternative, I'm then learning something. And then I try to adopt the more Canadian verbiage or the colloquialism that's being used like around the city, and I prefer to use that instead so I can sort of assimilate a little bit more into city life, which is fun. Like I haven't run around saying things like toque or anything yet, but I know what a toque is, so I feel very proud. I know what a toque is. It's good. But like I said, having a British accent is kind of fun because a lot of people who aren't British do come over and go, oh my God, I love the accent. It's like, oh, thank you so much. And it's actually quite nice. But with that said, on the other hand, there are a lot of people who I have met. There's a couple in particular who I have met who come from a different part of the world, who, when they move to Canada or other parts of the Americas, they've had a really negative experience. So when they meet me and realize that I'm having a slightly more fun experience and a slightly easier experience thus far, it makes them feel really crap. And I try to be really aware of that and know that when I'm around certain individuals, I can't keep blowing up the fact that I'm British and I love England and blah, blah, blah. I can't keep going on about my British pride or anything like that, because they've had a really terrible experience and it makes them feel terrible. And I've learned that the Canadian way is to sort of don't boast, just keep it to yourself, or just tone it down to the minuses. So I'm learning to do that. It's kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want other people to feel bad, but at the same time, they then shouldn't spend their time making my experience and the things that I've kind of learned so far look like a bad thing, if that makes sense. So it's kind of difficult. We're both kind of rocking the boat a little bit, but whatever. I choose to stay positive. I choose to sort of go along with things the best that I can. It is difficult, for sure, because obviously I'm not a citizen of this country, so getting a doctor and things like that is not only incredibly expensive, but it's also kind of difficult. And I'm learning about the healthcare system. I'm not even gonna talk about the healthcare system here. It's different. It's different. That is all I'm gonna say about that. Let's just end that there. There's a really big thing about food here too. So I want to get to like a load of like restaurants and stuff. One of my colleagues sent me a huge list of all these places for like great food and like spa treatments and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, thanks girl. So slowly I'll be going through every single one of those restaurants and checking out their websites and seeing what their menus are like. And then I'm going to be going on my own or with friends or with my boyfriend, who is very bland when it comes to food, but I'm slowly teaching him the ways of the Caribbean herbs and spices. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's been great so far. I keep saying that, but it has, so I can't deny it. I'm going to be going downtown soon, so you guys will get to see it eventually. Homesickness, I didn't think it was going to hit me as hard as it did, but it did. And I still have bouts of homesickness every so often. But my boyfriend has been really amazing in that he's kind of, on the one hand, he's helping me sort of like find new alternatives to a lot of things I miss from back in England. So like certain foods and stuff, he's like, oh, this is just the Canadian version of fish and chips, so let's just have this. Or he'll take me to like a British themed restaurant or a British themed pub or somewhere that's really American, because then it makes me feel like I'm more like myself again. I can sort of feel like I'm at home, which is really nice. Other times he's trying his best at a British accent, which, it's horrible. But I love it. If I ever played it out loud, like to you guys, I'm sure all of England would be slightly horrified, but they'll probably give him like 100 points for trying. But he is really trying it. I absolutely love it. So I'm working on him with that. And he tends to watch a lot of British TV shows and British clips and things that he can find on Netflix, Prime, Crave, that kind of thing. And then we watch them together because it's just nice to sort of hear my accents again and sort of feel like I can see something from back home, and then I can sort of explain to him like, oh, we have like, our house is set out like this, or the sky normally looks like that, or that isn't English, or that isn't so-and-so, or that accent's from Wales, or something like that. So he's learning about the UK to try and help me deal with my homesickness, which has actually been quite nice. With that being said, oh, I swear to God, I'm just gonna have a whole video called With That Being Said. I didn't have a lot of friends in the UK. I had a few, but not a great amount, but they were kind of spread all over the UK. So we didn't exactly get to see each other on a daily basis or anything like that, but we did get to message each other. So it's been nice to continue being able to just message them via WhatsApp and stuff. So that's been really cool. But the upside as well is that because I've got a lot more friends in places like the US and Australia and stuff, now that I'm in Canada, I'm a little bit closer to them, which means that at some point in the future, I'll actually be able to actually go out and physically meet them, and they can come up and physically meet me and my husband and our baby doggy behind us. And I'm looking forward to those things. So I'm trying my absolute best to try and stay as positive as I can. But at the same time, when I am feeling really anxious and depressed, coupled with my homesickness, which is kind of annoying, I know not to try and just dismiss it. I have to just kind of face it and just deal with it, get through whatever panic I'm going through, and then just take a moment to myself to try and gather myself. But at the same time, I'm also very grateful for the fact that my boyfriend is usually there when I'm having a panic attack or something, because then he's able to sort of sit there and just hold me and reassure me that everything's going to be okay, and then he'll have like a glass of water waiting for me, which is really nice. But the homesickness hasn't been too bad of late. I'd say it was probably like the first 4 months that I was here that it was really, really bad. Like I would just roll over at night, getting ready to go to sleep, and then suddenly I'll remember something from back home and I just feel crap and I'll just start crying. And then my boyfriend's like, can you not? I'm already an insomniac. And it's like, sorry. But yeah, I've been getting better and better at it, because I think it's just because I just miss things back home. Which is kind of, it's understandable. I guess it's really natural to just kind of miss certain things, which is why I love it when I meet other British people, because it's like, something that's normal for me. But like I said, slowly I'm trying to assimilate. I'm trying to be part of like the culture a little bit more. And eventually I will be. But I feel like at the moment it's just taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. But I don't mind. I don't mind it. It's just my learning. It's just how I learn things. I do everything a little bit slower than most people, but I get there in the end. So I'm going to keep doing that and then see what happens. So some of my goals for 2020 are pretty simple. I'm not going to go through everything on my whole list. Like I said, it's just going to be some of them, but they're pretty practical ones, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to accomplish them without too much problem. If you're wondering what that flapping is, it's my dog. She's just woken up. She's like giving herself a clean and she's like, how dare you show the world what I look like. But yeah, one of my goals is to visit downtown more often, because I want to get to know Toronto in general, not just downtown, but like other places, and just sort of see what those parts of the city are like, try and learn more about the city, because I love this city and I want to be very much assimilated into it and be part of it. So that's one of my major goals. My other amazing goal that I would like to continue doing is the natural hair journey, because I've been natural now, I don't know, maybe like, I want to say 2.5 years, maybe 3. I'm not sure. But since getting here, it's been a long process, waiting for all of my natural hair to grow out and then the processed parts of my hair to slowly get chopped off. And that's basically what's happened. And now I'm at a point where it's just completely 100% natural now. And I feel really, really good about that. So I'm learning more about the natural hair process and the natural hair journey as I'm here, because there's more access to curly salons, and I can just order in more head wraps because it's winter time, so I want to protect my hair and protect the ends and things. So I'm learning about all of that stuff here. One of my other goals is to focus on my writing. I will at some point sit down and discuss with you guys what I'm writing, what the books are about, what my plans are. That will come eventually. So that will happen. The fourth being that I'm so close. We've only got a few weeks left until we get married. So we're still making those final plans at the moment and paying for all of like the legal stuff, which is kind of fun. So we're almost there. We're almost there. It will happen. It's gonna happen real soon, but we're annoyingly becoming like last minute people, and it's really starting to grate me, because if people know me, they know I'm always like booking things and sorting things like a good 6 months in advance. So we'll get there. And the very last point is to turn our home into a livable positive manifestation space, like to turn it into an actual home. We're still decorating, we're still kind of putting things together, discussing things with each other, which ties into like the first point that I made with this video, being that when you're living with someone else, especially if that person is your lover, you're making a lot of decisions together, and that's basically what we're doing. We're turning our house into a home, our apartment rather, into a home. And the whole process, while it's been beautifully slow, it's been a really cool organic one, and I love it. I'm very grateful for it. So we're still building it. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the montage at the beginning of the video. It was really cheesy. I do apologize. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say for now. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will be back. And I will keep saying and until